I don't know about you, but I think a lot of us are completely overwhelmed with how many things we have going on in our lives and how many expectations there are on us, whether it's from work or from your kids or from an activity that you're involved in or a volunteer thing or your church. There can be so many people pulling on you in different directions that it can feel super overwhelming. And when you're an adoptive parent, you know that bonding with your child is incredibly important. You don't have that kind of biological bond that you would have with a biological child, and so it takes a little more work and intentionality to build up that bond. But how do you fit in times to bond with your kid every day when you're already so overwhelmed? You're trying to balance maybe working out and eating healthy and doing a good job at your work and also being a good parent. It can just feel like way too much. So today I'm going to give you 7 simple, I promise, simple ways that you can bond with your child that will not be overwhelming, totally doable, and can even fit naturally into your day and align with some of your goals you already have. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Katie and I'm an adoptive mom of 3 kids ages 5 to 12. We adopted all 3 of our kids from foster care as waiting children, and so we have been through this bonding process a few times over, and I know how hard it can be. I dealt with my own struggles with bonding with my kids and finding time and feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. And so that's why today I'm sharing these tips with you that I know can work because they worked for me. And if you are an adoptive parent or thinking about becoming one, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel because I have tons of adoption videos already on my channel and I have even more lined up for the future. And so I definitely don't want you to miss any of those videos, so feel free to hit the subscribe button and it really helps support my channel. All right, the first way that you can take time to bond with your kids without it just completely throwing off your life schedule is that you can invite your kids to cook dinner with you. Now, I would be careful not to pick like the most complicated meal when you're going to ask your kids to help you cook dinner because it will just make it more stressful for you. But if you can pick a simple meal once or twice a week that you can say, hey, on Tuesdays and Thursdays or just on Tuesdays, you get to help me cook. This is something most kids love. Now, maybe like teenagers will be like, but you never know. You never know. What I love about this way of bonding with your kid is you already, most likely, are going to be cooking dinner. So this is a way to take a 30-minute section of time or 45-minute section of time that you were going to be cooking anyway. So you weren't going to be resting, you weren't going to be doing something like you really wanted to do. So why not turn that time into a time you can also bond with your kids? And what's really cool about this is it isn't just a time to bond for that child, but it's also a time for that child to learn a really important skill like cooking. I think when kids get to help cook a meal, they take a lot of pride in it. Like I know in our household, when one of the kids gets to help, they'll make sure that they announce to all the other kids at the table, like, hey, just so you know, if you like the food, you should be thanking me because I made it. You know, like they just take a lot of pride in what they just did. The other thing I love about cooking as a way of bonding with your child is that if you have a kid who is very hyperactive or just, you know, a very active child and they're always on the move, we have one like that for sure. This is a great way to keep their hands busy and to have a positive way where they can be doing something really active where they get to see like, oh my gosh, I spent all this time being active and doing something and it produced something really good. I know that sometimes at the beginning of bonding and when our kids first moved in, they were overly physically clingy to me. And I hate saying that like it bothered me, but it did. I'm not a super physical touch type of person. Like that's not my main love language. And so it was difficult for me to have kids hanging on me all the time, especially when they're older and it's just not like a typical way that an older kid would interact with their parents. It did wear on me sometimes. So there were times where I wouldn't necessarily seek out bonding moments because I was like, I just can't be touched right now. I just don't want to be hung all over. But cooking was a great way that we could bond without that happening as often because, again, our hands are busy. We're doing something. But it was a really positive bonding experience, and we could still have some physical touch involved, but there wasn't this ability to just be like hanging on mom or dad. And so this is something both my husband and I have done with the kids. We've taken, maybe we'll let the other spouse go take a little rest or get some other work done. And instead of us cooking together like usual, we grab one of the kids and have them cook with us, and they love it. In fact, the other two kids are always jealous after we pick one of the kids to help that night. So it's something that they all really love and look forward to. Another super simple way that you can bond with your kids is to just go on walks together. I don't know about you, but I'm guessing that you probably have some sort of goal to be exercising or moving your body more, and it can be so hard to feel like you can squeeze that in. And I know for me as a mom, I often will feel like, well, I shouldn't be taking that time for myself to do that if I'm not spending time like doing things with my kids. Well, this is a way, again, to do two things at once. Go take a walk through your neighborhood and ask your kid to come with you. They could ride their bike or their scooter, or they could just walk with you. And it's just a time where they get to have a little bit of one-on-one time with you. And again, you don't have to walk with them every day. Like, make it a certain day of the week. Maybe you want to take some walks by yourself or just with your spouse or something, and that's totally fine. But if you set like 1 or 2 days a week where that kid knows they get to go on a walk with you that day, it can be something they can look forward to. Another thing I love about taking walks with your kids as a way of bonding is that it kind of takes away, even though eye contact is important with bonding, sometimes that can be uncomfortable or awkward at first for the child or for you. And so when you're walking, it gives you something to do together and you can still talk. Maybe they can feel more like they can open up about some different things they've been through or feelings they're having because they don't have to look you face to face while you're talking. So I think taking walks is a great idea. And also, bonus, it's going to help you stay healthier and it's going to help decrease some of your stress, help you sleep better. There's so many reasons to do it. Like I said, if you have a really hyperactive child, this could be good for them. They can't be clinging on you while you're walking, but you could hold hands or something. You could still get that physical touch. So I think that that is just a really simple and overlooked way of bonding with your kids. These next two actually do involve more eye contact because that is very important. And the first one is playing simple board games with your kids. Our kids love board games, so we make sure that we have some really simple, easy to play games that don't last for too long. Now, don't get me wrong, my oldest daughter loves Monopoly, and I'm sorry, I cannot commit to playing Monopoly for like who knows how many hours right now, but we can commit to like a game of Candyland, or we have this really fun game called Color Brain, and they have a Disney version and our kids love playing it. Even like our 4-year-old, well, she's 5 now, our 5-year-old can play it, and I'll actually link it below if you're interested. We love it. It's very simple. You're just like guessing the colors of different Disney characters' outfits and things. And that's one we've played a lot together. And it's a pretty quick game. Again, something nice about this game is it keeps hands busy. There's not going to be maybe that clingy behavior if that's something that is kind of you're struggling with your kids, but you are going to get that eye contact. You could still have physical touch involved if you want to pat them on the back or say good job. That can still totally happen. And so playing games, I know our kids always want to play games, and I can be guilty of saying no because I think, oh, it's going to take too long. And every time we do it, it doesn't take that long, and it makes a big difference to your kids. So again, if you can schedule it, if you can say, hey, Friday night is family game night and we will definitely play 2 games together. Something that they can look forward to and know is coming. That could be a special thing to do with your kids. An added bonus of playing games like this with your kids is that you get to teach them how to play a game. And then if you have older kids or you have multiple kids at home, you may find that they start playing those games together on their own, which is also good because it keeps them entertained. It's something that's not on a screen. That's just a win-win, right? The next one is something that I've done with my daughters several times, and they, again, love and ask to do all the time. And again, I'm guilty of not always saying yes to it, but it is a fun thing to do if you have the time to sit down and paint nails together. So one thing I really love about painting nails together is it involves that physical touch, but there's also this fun element of like, you guys could pick the same color nail polish. So like maybe you choose to go like pink and purple, and you can, if you do that as well with your daughter, that's something that she might think is really special. And I know my 12-year-old loves doing nails together, and also my 5-year-old loves doing nails together. And now sometimes like my 12-year-old will paint my 5-year-old's nails. And so that's a way that they can bond. And so it's just been a good way to do it. And, you know, you think about when you're painting nails, you can like be painting and look up and have the eye contact, you have the physical touch, and it's just something fun. And every time they look at their nails throughout the week, they can think, that was a really fun time that I had with my mom or dad. And along the same lines, I know I mentioned like sometimes if you have the same nail polish color as your daughters, like it might be something fun for them. My daughters especially love having matching outfits to me, which I think is kind of cool considering I have a 12-year-old and I'm guessing she's going to grow out of this, but especially at the beginning, I bought a shirt and then I bought her the same one in her size, and she like loved it and she wanted us to wear it to church on the same day. And it was just something that I think helped her feel connected to me and made us feel more like a family, because we don't share genetics. We don't really look like each other at all. And so this is one way that we can kind of connect. And with my youngest daughter, I had this pink dress, this kind of like hot pink dress. I still have it. And I was at the store and I found one almost exactly like mine, but in her size. So I bought her one. And again, she always wants us to wear it to church on the same day and we can dress up together. And I think it just creates that like, we're a family, we're a unit together. And I don't know, it's just something really fun. And I enjoy it too, because it's kind of cute to just match your kids and you know, we can take pictures and stuff. And that's just something fun and super simple you could do. All right, we're on the second to last one. So I think this is probably one that a lot of people think of, but I want to take some pressure off of it. So this one is taking your kids on little dates. Now, I think sometimes when we think of taking our kids out on a date, we think of making it super special and you dress up a whole bunch and you do this big thing. And the thing I don't like about that is it makes it something that feels like, oh, I can't do that very often. There's too much involved in it. So why not just kind of strip that down and simplify it? So instead of taking your kid on this date where you go to this restaurant and you dress up all fancy, maybe you just say, hey, you know, every month, one of us will take each of the kids out and it will go to like a coffee shop or go to the ice cream place nearby. Like don't make it this huge thing. You can go out for 20 minutes and your kids are going to love it. It's going to be something special that was just you and them. And this gives you a time to talk and to spend some time, quality time together. I always like to, we did this more frequently when our kids first moved in, like in the first few months. And I did think it was nice because especially when you have more than one kid, it was really nice for them to get that full attention from the parent. Because it is hard when there's like kids everywhere and things going on. When I had these opportunities to go out one-on-one with my kids, I made sure that I took time to just really recognize the growth that they had made or tell them something about them that I was proud of or something they had done, or just talk about things I liked about them. Give them some of that verbal affirmation that can be hard to remember to do on a daily basis if you're just getting through the day. So really taking that intentional time to say those things to them. And when you take these kids out for like quote unquote dates, it could just be an activity, and pick an activity that you know that you enjoy and that they would enjoy too. Because here's the thing, if you're always trying to bond with your child by doing imaginative play or building with blocks and you're not really into that, that's not going to be as quality of bonding time. It's still good to do, but it's good to find things that you actually enjoy that you could share with your child as well. So maybe take this opportunity if you're going out on a date, like maybe go to the park and play baseball or something like that, or like going on a little hike somewhere, something that you enjoy that you could share with them. Another really fun date idea with your kids is to go on a picnic to a park. It's so simple in the warmer months. I did this with my youngest, a few months ago, and it was really fun. We went to the park, we packed all of our food, we ate at the picnic tables. We had to run away from bees that were flying around us and go to a different picnic table. But then we just spent time playing at the park too. So things like that are so simple. They cost almost nothing. And there are things your kids remember. All right, and the very last tip I have for you for simple ways to bond with your child is to just create family traditions together. Create new family traditions. not just things that you've always done and now you're incorporating this child into, but actually come up with things together that you guys all think sounds really fun. For our family, it was having a family movie night. And on Fridays, we would either make pizza or order pizza, and we would all watch a movie together. And that was something our kids really look forward to. And they knew it was something we kind of came up with together as a family. And holidays, you know, the holidays are coming up at the time I'm recording this video. And for holidays, come up with your own family traditions. Maybe you always go look at specific Christmas lights together, or you always go to this one little town Christmas festival. Whatever it is, you guys can make that decision. Or maybe when you decorate your Christmas tree, there's a specific way you do it. Or I don't know, there can be so many different traditions that you could come up with as a family that could help your child feel included and loved, and also help with that bonding. All of these little bonding things you do can help you build that attachment. And if you missed my last video, I talked about the difference between love and attachment, and how love you can have automatically, but attachment takes a lot of time to build. And these little types of bonding activities are things that over time can lead you to have a solid attachment with your child. But just know this is not everything that leads to attachment. A lot of attachment is trust. And so showing up when you say you're going to show up, doing what you say you're going to do, being a trustworthy adult in their lives. A lot of attachment is being open and understanding and welcoming their emotions, even the difficult ones. Being willing to talk about birth family, even if it makes you uncomfortable. All of these things, including these little bonding ideas I gave you today, build attachment. And so just know that attachment is truly not a race, it's a marathon, and all of these things are going to build up over time and lead to a stronger and stronger attachment. And if you are struggling to want to spend time with your child or to bond with them, I hope that this list does not feel overwhelming to you, but gives you hope that you could just try one of these things over the next couple of months, and it would probably improve your bonding, even if you did nothing else. So really just take it one step at a time. Like I said, it's not a race. You're not in a competition to bond the fastest, okay? Just pick one thing, be gentle on yourself, and take your time. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I hope you found it really helpful. The best compliment you can give me is liking the video so that more adoptive families or prospective adoptive families can find my content. And as always, if you're someone who watches my videos a lot and you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe, then you won't miss my videos. And I have, like I said earlier, I have a lot of great adoption content coming up. A lot of it was suggested by you on my YouTube community page. And so I'm really excited to kind of get through this list of all the different questions you guys have and be able to answer those through some of these videos. I also like to mention at least once in every video that if you do not know, I'm an adoption consultant. I have my own adoption consultant business called Adopt Informed. And I work with families who are looking into adoption for the first time. Maybe they already have an agency, but a lot of my families that I work with are just getting started and they need help finding an agency. They want to talk through some of their concerns, and they just want to go to one place and get the answers to all of their questions. Could you research everything that I'm going to tell you? Possibly. Maybe multiple days or weeks of research. You could just come to me, and in either an hour or an hour and a half session, I could answer all of your questions for you. So if that's something that interests you and you want to save that time and have that peace of mind, I would absolutely love to work with you. I'm going to include the link below in a pinned comment like usual. And feel free to email me with questions. My email is also listed below if you need to ask a few more questions before you decide to do this. All right, and since you made it all the way to the end of the video, that means you're my favorite. You're one of my favorites, so I'm gonna ask you the secret question that you can answer in the comments. So my secret question today is, what was one thing that your parents did with you when you were a kid that you will always remember? Like some sort of bonding activity, maybe it was something really simple, maybe it was a trip you took together. What's like the one thing from your childhood that you're like, that was really special and I will just always remember that one thing, whether it was a tradition or a bonding activity or a vacation, whatever. I will say that something I will never forget that my parents used to do. I remember it happening at least once, possibly more. My parents are very spontaneous, and I remember one time I was in elementary school and I got called down to the office and they're like, hey, you need to bring your backpack. And I went down to the office and I was like, what's going on? I think I was in like 3rd or 4th grade. And my parents were there, were like, oh, we had to pick you up from school early today. And I was like, well, what's going on? I got in the car and they're like, we packed your bags and we're driving to Chicago. And like for the weekend, we were going to go to Chicago, and they just kind of surprised me with it. And that was just something really fun as a kid. I wasn't expecting to go on like a cool trip that weekend. I thought it was just going to be a normal weekend at home. So that is something I won't forget that my parents did. That was really fun. So I want to hear about yours in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next week on Thursday.